All right, so this is test review 3, number 11, and it has the equation y equals 6x squared plus x minus 2, and it asks you to put this in intercept form. So remember, intercept form looks like this. We have some a value, and then we have x minus one of the intercepts, which we call p, and then x minus the other intercept, which I'll call q. All right, so now I know my two x intercepts will be p and q. So this kind of looks like it's factored. So let's go ahead and factor this. Now this is in standard form, so we're going to factor it. There's many, many different ways to factor. If you struggle with factoring, please let me know, and I'll be happy to show you a couple of different ways, and then you can pick what works best for you. I usually factor by guess and check. So I'm going to put two parentheses like this, and I'm going to take my first term and split it. Now I can split it into 6 and 1 and 2 and 3. And this is where the guess part comes in because I'm just going to guess. So I'm going to start with 2x and 3x. I could just as easily have started with 6 and 1, but I'm going to start with 2x and 3x. Now I'm going to split my last term. Again, I'm going to ignore the sign for a moment. So I'm just going to split 2. And the only way I can split it is 2 and 1. So I'm going to put a 1 here and a 2 here. Now the check part is I'm going to multiply my two outside terms and see if when I add or subtract them to my two inside terms, will I possibly come up to a positive x? So if I multiply those two terms together, I'm going to get a 4x. And if I multiply my inside terms together, I get a 3x. So I can see now that if my 4x is positive and my 3x is negative, I'm going to end up with that middle term, which is a positive x. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, my 4x has to be positive, so this is what makes up my 4x. My 3x has to be negative, so that's what makes up my 3x. So now I have this factored. But this still isn't in intercept form yet because I have an a here and I have no leading coefficients on these x's. So I have to factor out this 2 and factor out this 3. So let's factor out the 2. So when I take this first term and divide it by 2, I'm just going to have x left. And when I take this second term and divide it by 2, I'm going to have 1/2. On the next one here, I have to factor out a 3. When I take this first term and divide it by 3, I'm going to have an x. And when I take this second term and divide it by 3, I'm going to have 2/3. So now I'm almost there because now I just have this 2 and 3, which I'm going to multiply back together again. So my final answer will be 6 times x minus 1/2 times x plus 2/3. This will tell me that my a value is 6 and my two intercepts are positive 1/2 and negative 2/3. I hope this helps.